よしよし始めよう
What's up everyone, it's Edo here, and today we are kicking off Season 3 for Fatal Fury City Wolves, taking a look at the White Wolf of the Ring, Rick Strowd. I will be covering his moveset, showcasing gameplay matches, and giving my overall review of the character towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Huge thank you to SNK for providing me early access to cover on the channel, and also, if you want to see more fighting game content on this channel, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, so we're here with Rick Strowd in City of the Wolves, and basically, I just want to talk about his models real quick. He looks amazing. Seeing this character transition from sprites into a 3D model in modern day, like, SNK cooked with how he looks. Like, it's chef's kiss. I really love how he's flowing within his animations. He just looks amazing, and I'm happy to see this character back. Like, it just makes me excited. Now, when this character comes out, I'm not too sure if he's going to have a stage, because in the build that I'm playing, he doesn't really have a stage. So I can't really go off of anything if he has a stage or not. But I can talk about his movement. Starting off first, he has a dash. So we are back to dash characters, and this has always been a staple within his kit. He has always had a dash in real bout, and that doesn't change here. Back dash, and then we have his forward dash going pretty far distance, and it feels pretty good to move around. So he is a pretty fast character overall, so you don't have to worry about that when you're playing Rick Strowd. He has a dash, not a run. All right, now we're jumping into his normals, and let's go ahead and start off with his far buttons. So we have far light punch, then we have crouching light punch, stand light kick, crouching light kick, and then we have his far heavy button. So we have far heavy punch, and this bad boy hits from far and it moves them very close to the opponent. So if I'm round start, literally, as you guys can see, this normal is about to hit Terry, like almost. So this normal is very good for whiff punishment. And then we have crouching heavy punch. Very good button for anti-airing. Very nice. And it moves them forward a bit. And then we have for heavy kick. Another good haymaker button. And then you have his standard sweep, which stays the same. He has the standard sweep just like in real bout, which is pretty cool. So those are his close buttons. We got his jump button. So we got jump light punch. And he does like 2 punches in the air with his light buttons, so this is pretty good for anti-airs. And then we have jump light kick, jump heavy punch, and this button here is his cross up button. So this is what it looks like. This is basically a really good cross up button when you're jumping over your opponent. Very good button. And then we have jump heavy kick, and this is your main jump in button. So yeah, he has pretty good normals all around. So those are his jump in far buttons. Let's jump into his close buttons real quick. So we have I'm gonna turn Terry off of reaction off of guard, and we're gonna go into close light punch. Then we have close light kick. And then we have close heavy punch. And you can feint cancel off of his close heavy punch. And special cancel. And then for last, we have close heavy kick. And you can also feint cancel, which I'm doing here. And this is what it looks like normally without feint canceling it. There's another gut punch, which is pretty cool. Okay, so those were his normals. We can go ahead and jump into his command moves. And for the first command move, we have a stance, which is forward or back, light punch and heavy punch at the same time. And that's what it looks like. So as you guys can see, he goes into this stance here, and he has multiple follow-ups off of it. So we'll go one by one of what each follow-up can do, starting off with the first one being tap forward twice. So you go into stance and you tap forward 2 times. He does a stance switch. So basically you can have him either going into stance with his back turned to you, or you can flip the stance and have his face and his body facing towards you as well, which is pretty good. And it's another form of movement that you can slowly inch your way to your opponent within the stance. So this is pretty cool that he can do this here. And then for the next follow-up, we have back back or down down, which is a stance cancel, and he can go back into regular stance and have free form of movement. So I can dash again, I can jump again, but if I go into stance, I can't do any of that. I'm just locked between the follow-ups off of the stance. So if you don't want to be in the stance again, tap down down or back back to get free form of movement. And then for the next follow-up, we have light punch, which is a flickered jab here. And if you're familiar with boxer characters, especially Vanessa or Ed from Street Fighter 6, they have flicker jabs. So he has one in the stance, which is nice to use within combos and pressure. So I'll showcase that now. So say within pressure, I can go in the stance, do jab jab to get spacing between my opponent. And for combos, I can link this off of other moves within his chain combo. So I can do something like this. I can do something like that, which is pretty cool. So remember, the light punch is very good to use in pressure and his combos as well, which is nice. For the heavy punch follow-up, we have an overhead attack, which is very slow, but it gets the job done, especially if your opponent is respecting you too much and crouching too much. So this is what it looks like. He throws out this overhead, and even if the overhead doesn't land, he still stays into the stance. So like if I whip the overhead, I can still stay in the stance and press my other follow-ups, which is very good. So yeah, keep that in mind. The heavy punch follow-up is an overhead, while the heavy kick follow-up is a low, which is a stomp. And this is also a good option to mix your opponent and go higher low. So this is a good way to keep your opponent on their toes, always on defense. So it's a pretty good stomp. It's a really good stomp to use. And then for the last follow-up off of stance, we have light kick, which is a counter. And this counters strike attacks and strike supers. So if I have Terry do burning knuckle, if I time it well, I will be able to counter my opponent. And I think this is a very good counter to have. He is loaded with a lot of options out of the stance. You definitely want to use this carefully because he is vulnerable to lows and projectiles. So if I'm throwing this stance out too much, I can get sweeped, and my opponent can also super me. So you definitely want to be careful. But say if you're in a situation where you feel like your opponent is going to take their turn back within pressure, or they're going to throw out random stuff in neutral, and you have the timing down for this counter, you definitely want to use this to shut down those types of players. So this is very good to have. And another cool thing to know about this counter here is that he still stays in stance after it. So if I get the counter, I can slowly inch my way to my opponent and maintain pressure, or could create that higher low mix up game within the other options out of stance, which is pretty cool. So his stance overall is very good to have. I'm happy that he has it, and I recommend using it. Alright, so now we can jump into his specials. Starting off first, we have quarter circle forward light punch, and this is a special hook punch that he does in neutral. And this is good to throw out in the mid range and to gain plus frames basically. So the light version, if you're in the mid range, you want to throw this out and get a +2 situation here. Meanwhile, for the heavy version, depending on the range you're at, it is longer startup, but it reaches very far, and you can get up to +2 to +4 in certain situations here, which is very nice to have. And then for the EX version of this move, it's mainly good to use in combos. So I can showcase that right now in a combo. So I'm gonna set Terry off a block and do a quick confirm for you guys. Do something like this, and then you can go into whatever you want. So keep that in mind that the light and heavy version is good to throw out in the mid range. Meanwhile, for the EX version is good to use in combos. For the next move, we have quarter circle back, light punch, and heavy punch, which is his weave stance that Rick has always had in Rebel 2. And in City Wolves, this stance is used to mainly go through projectiles. So if you time it well against a fireball, you will be able to go through the fireball, which is very cool. So this stance here, it doesn't matter which version. It could be the light, heavy version, or EX version of the stance. It all goes through regular projectiles, heavy projectiles, level 1 supers that are projectiles, and even EX. So I'll showcase that now. So we'll do EX. If I hold down the light button, it goes through it. If I do level 1 super, power geyser, and if I time it well, he goes through it like nothing happened. So I definitely recommend using this move here against zoners and shoulder light characters that like to play that keep away game with the projectiles, because Rick is going to have a hard time against those types of characters, especially zoners. So if you're in the full screen or mid range and your opponent likes to zone you out, definitely keep that in mind that you can use this move here to negate projectiles and slowly inch your way up to your opponent. So definitely a good move to use. The last thing I do want to know about this move here though is if you autopilot into this too much, you will get counter hit into big damage. So your opponent can run up and hit a button, and basically you're paying the price for it. So definitely use this when you need to. Don't be too obvious with it, but it is a good move to use against zoners and shoto characters. Going on to the next move, you have DP light punch and heavy punch, and this is Rick's go-to DP, and he keeps the same awesome animations as well with the effects. And for the light version, you mainly want to use for anti-airing your opponent if they're jumping too much. So that's what it looks like when you anti-air your opponent. Meanwhile, for the heavy version, it's good for pressure. So if I do a heavy button into DP, I am -5 on block, but the cool thing about the heavy version about this DP is that you can break it. So if you break it, that's what it looks like. He does 1 follow-up and he's -2. So if I throw out a heavy button to heavy DP break, I am +2 and I have a chance to block and either walk back from my opponent and see what they're going to do. So the light version is good for anti-airing. Meanwhile, for the heavy version is good for pressure. And for the EX version, you have mainly for combo filler. So you can do something like this into whatever you want. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. The EX version is good for combo filler. Meanwhile, the heavy version is good for pressure, and the light version is good for anti-airing. For the next move, we have quarter circle back, light kick, and heavy kick. And this is Rick's sway back move that is very good to use in pressure. So say if I set up a pressure sequence like this, I can sway back, and in this moment I can reset myself and see how do I want to re-strategize and approach Terry from here. Or I can sit here and wait and see if my opponent is going to press a button or do something dumb. So if Terry is going to do like sweep from here, I can literally set that up and wild punish him for a big punish into the corner. So you can use the light version of sway and the heavy version of sway for those reasons. This is definitely a good move to have. And not only that, you can use this for extra mobility options and for pressure, he also has a follow-up off of this as well, which is light punch or heavy punch after sway. And he does like a straight punch. So that's what it looks like. And this is also another form of a follow-up for good punishment. So if I set Terry to do like a jab here and I set up my pressure from here, I can punish that jab with the straight punch into a soft knockdown, and I can continue my pressure from there, which is very cool. So keep that in mind that he does have a follow-up off of this sway back, and for the EX version of this, he does have the follow-up off of this as well. And this is mainly going to be your combo starter, your combo tool. So you can do something like this. into whatever you want. Definitely a good move to use. I recommend using it, especially in pressure and to mix up your opponent within your movement. So definitely good to have. For the last special in Rick's kit, we have quarter circle for light kick and heavy kick. And this is another form of a sway option that moves on forward. So just like back sway, you can use this within pressure or in neutral to mix up your opponent. So you can do button into forward sway into throw to reset your pressure, or you can reset your pressure into more buttons, which is pretty cool. And if you want to shimmy your opponent, you can do forward sway into back sway. You have sky's the options of movement with this character, and it's pretty cool to see him having these options in City of the Wolves. He also has a lot of follow-ups off of forward sway, which I'll get into right now. So starting off for the first follow-up, we have light punch, and this is a series of multi-punches that Rick would do, and this is good to use to end off your pressure on block. And since he's -3, Terry cannot punish him at all, so you have enough time to block and see what your opponent is going to do right after. So keep that in mind, that the light punch follow-up is good to throw out in pressure and get the chip damage. And for the heavy version, this is good to use in combos. So he does a multi-series of punches, but he ends it off in an uppercut. And this is mainly good for combo filler as well, for extra joke element into other supers that you cannot connect in your basic B&B combos. So I'll showcase a combo ending off into the heavy punch follow-up with this. Which is pretty cool. So yeah, the heavy punch follow-up is basically combo filler, and same for the EX version. He has a heavy punch follow-up off of the EX version. This is mainly combo filler as well. The only cool thing about the heavy punch follow-up off the EX version of this is you can break it, and you can go into the other sway follow-ups into other combo routes. So definitely keep that in mind when you're playing Rick. He has a ton of options within his kit, and he's very fun, and I know a lot of you guys will enjoy him when he comes out this month. Okay, so now that we have his specials out the way, we can finally jump into his rub blows. So he has 2 rub blows like everyone else in the game, and starting off with his ground rub blow, it is 25 frame startup, and he does like a long hook punch or uppercut punch, and it's very cool. I really like the animations on it, and it is definitely very good to use in the mid-range, especially if they're not expecting it. So that's his ground rub blow. And then we have his air rub blow, which is a downwards punch at 21 frame startup, which is pretty nice. So those are his rub blows. I think it's time we jump into his supers. So now we can start off with the first super being double quarter circle forward light punch. And this is a uppercut into a straight punch. And I love the impact on this super here. He had this in Real Bout 2, and I'm happy that he has this in City of the Wolves. So much impact, and it looks freaking cool. I love how they have like the wearing currents after the straight punch. It's very nice. Like, SNK cooked on this. So that's the light version. We have the heavy version being double quarter circle forward heavy punch, and this is what it looks like. A lot more impact. A lot more color to the wind currents after the straight punch. It's very nicely done. So I'm gonna just do it again. I really love his supers. So much impact. So yeah, those are his punch supers. Now we got his kick supers. So we got double quarter circle forward light kick, and yeah, he does multi-series of punches. And the detail within the super is also very cool to me because it looks like he has his very own stand. So to me, being an anime fan, I'm just going to call out JoJo. And on top of that, he screams out "Oro" when he's punching. So it's pretty cool. So that's the light version. I do want to keep note that this super here can reach from the mid-range. So you don't really have to be up close to your opponent either. You can land the super from here and it will connect. So he's punching air. He's like shadow boxing and punching air, and he's hitting the opponent, and the opponent doesn't fall out. So that's definitely one thing to keep note with the super here. So that is the level 1 version. For the level 2, it's more impact, more shakes. It's so freaking cool, bro. I love his supers. SNK cooked with this character. I'm gonna do it one more time to showcase this. It's awesome. So much impact. So much freaking impact. I love it. So yeah, that's his level 2. And then last we have level 3, which is the hidden gear, and we'll showcase that off right now. Double quarter circle forward, ref button. This hidden gear is so cool. He has stands. That's so freaking sick. Oh man, yeah. I'm a big fan of this hidden gear. Like literally, as I said earlier, Rick has stands. Like he is a JoJo character. I don't care what no one say. He's a JoJo character. The camera angles, the motions, the impact, beautifully done. Like I'm so happy with this. So yeah, those were his hidden gears. I hope you guys enjoy his supers and his kit overall. I think it's about time we go ahead and jump into some CPU matches. So yeah, let's go ahead and transition into that. Alright, so you know we had to do a CPU fight with T-Zoc, and since he doesn't have a stage, I had to pick the wrestling ring, so we just gotta make this event canon due to the teaser. So let's try our best to showcase some Rick. And look at that boy, he looking clean. Look at the intro, man. Obviously I have to run the pink color. I love pink. I'm happy he has a pink color. Alright, let's try our best to showcase some Rick. Alright, let's go. Oh no. Okay, off to a good start. Big punish there. Ended off with light DP there. Ooh, okay. Call it from the CPU with a command throw. Try to throw him back in the corner. Okay. What we doing? I tried to cross up. That's on me. Okay. That's fine. Back up. Okay. Try to showcase some combos here. He's so freaking cool. I'm so happy he's back. I'm so freaking happy he's back. Alright, let's go. See if I can cross up here. Want to showcase that that good old cross up button there. If the CPU will let me. There we go. Woo! Side switch. Yep. Woo! That's another cool thing about Sway in this game. You have a lot of opportunities within combos to go for like side switches and stuff. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with this character. This character is loaded with a lot of stuff, man. Let's end off with the other super. Looking clean. See what he got to say. Woo! He looks so freaking awesome. I'm geeking out right now. I'm so sorry. I'm geeking out. I really love this character. Like, it brings me so much joy seeing him back. I'm having a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and jump into the next round. I'm trying my best not to geek out. This character brings me so much happiness. Alright. Oh, okay. My bad. My fault, bro. What we got? Back up. Back throw. Ooh. See, I try to go for like an execution combo there. He does have some one frame link combos. So I definitely want to let you guys know about that. Go into this. Back sway, see if you're gonna tech roll. Okay. What we got? Back up. We block that out. Woo! For a heavy kick. Don't underestimate me. Voice actor, chef's kiss. I love everything about this character. Oh, that's a big punish right there. What we doing? T-Zoc, what we doing? Okay. Back up. Going to light super here. Is this a perfect? Yeah, it is a perfect. Okay. Not bad. We look good there. He's so awesome. Yeah, that was Rick. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I try my best to showcase some combos there. He does have a lot of execution combos, so be prepared when he comes out this month for that. But I had a lot of fun with this character. I'm so happy he's back, and I look forward to seeing if he's going to be in KOF in the future and future SNK titles, because we all have been waiting for this moment for him to return, and he's finally here. So I look forward to seeing what SNK would do with this character. But yeah, overall, that's Rick Strowd. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and I think it's about time we transition into the review for this character. Let's go ahead and transition into that. Now we are here for my review of Rick Strowd and City of the Wolves, and to be honest with you guys, this is probably the most technical character in the game, due to Rick having a lot of delayed timings within his EX chain combos to get extra damage to finish off your opponent, to also having 1 to 2 frame link combos from his EX way. This character is loaded with tons of options, from combo routes to also keeping on the pressure on your opponent, having moves like sway to dash forward or backwards to change timing approaches to different characters, as well as having a command stance to mix up your opponent, going high or low to keep your opponent on their toes while on defense. Rick's overall toolkit is great and very fun to mess around with, and I would say if you are a Rick Strowd main in Real Bout Fatal Fury 2, you will 100% be satisfied with him in City of the Wolves. He is still an offensive powerhouse with amazing pressure, with a lot of ways to cash out damage into corner carry, and in my opinion, he pretty much has everything he needs to play within the rev system for this game. For Rick's character and design, I can't stress enough how much it means to finally see this character come back after 20 plus years, transitioning from sprites to 3D. It brings me a lot of happiness as a person who's been asking for the return of this character. I think SNK has done a great job in nailing Rick's look into modern day graphics and art style, and also seeing how SNK kept his personality traits, being a character that's rowdy but also has a heart of honor and respects the code of a warrior. All of this is shown throughout his victory outro dialogues with characters, which I found pretty cool, seeing him interacting with the new gen characters finally, since he hasn't been a playable character since 1998. Overall, I'm in love with how Rick Strowd plays in City of the Wolves, and I think he might be my favorite DLC character for Fatal Fury as of now. He has everything I'm looking for in a character, especially in the execution department, and I look forward to seeing what else SNK has planned for this character in the future. For my final score, I give Rick Strowd a solid 8 out of 10. Now I want to know your thoughts. How are you feeling about Rick Strowd, and are you excited for Rick to kick off Season 3 for City of the Wolves? Let me know in the comments. Huge thank you to SNK for providing me with early access to covering the channel, and also if you want to see more fighting game content on this channel, please consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button, as we're on the road to 3K subs. And until next time, it is your boy Edo. Take it easy, stay safe, love y'all, peace out.